everybody? It's your guy Xavier Taylor. Welcome to another Talking Space video. Today's subject is about mental health, really. Like, what does mental health mean in certain aspects a of a teenager growing up to being a full, uh, to being an adult, like early 20s, right? Um, in my honest, in my time, like not my time, I won't say that, but like my time of experience of just schools in general and like how my mental health was not on par to like a normal standard, but I was more so like go happy, but also had a sad had a, like a depression type of thing going on. It wasn't the best, but it was like still making out the ropes, you know. Um, what mental health really means to me, though, and all that in abundance, is that you take care of what personal, like I mean, like in a selfish way. You mostly when it comes to like that subject, it's about you. So like taking personal care of yourself, checking with yourself, checking like just checking in with yourself. Like, I know like people check, like probably like some people will check in with you, or like yeah, nobody checking with you at all. It's like having, but like still having this time to like check in with yourself, hang out with yourself, or going out somewhere, watching a movie or something by yourself. Like stuff like that is like you're just enjoying yourself, your own time. Because when you get with someone, you won't have that time to really enjoy yourself as you used to, because you'll also have another person to like love and take and be with. Um, but like what I mean is that it's easier to have more self control of your own things than when you're with someone, because there's gonna be a say so and everything. There is. I mean, I've been in my few, but like there's always a say so. Like we're the in between line when it comes to your stuff and when it comes to their stuff, and like what is your own secured goals and what is theirs, and how does it intertwine, or like how does it like crumble or something like that. But in a mental health state, more so, it's more like it's harder to be in a mental. It's hard to keep a healthy mental health state when you're in a relationship that you're not too sure you want to be in the first place. Then the relationship you want to be in is just that you don't want to be in that time of period because you're not ready for it. You know what I'm saying? And I encourage people, please take your time in relationships. It's not going anywhere, to be honest. Um, when mental health like takes a big when you take mental health seriously, it creates a lot of windows that and a lot of doors that you never suspected about yourself will come open. Like you like self realize like, huh, I really do this. Like you question yourself and like what do you want in your time being of living in the space you're in at the moment. Like I said, keyword at the moment, not for your entire life. At the moment, I'm not saying you're gonna stay there. I'm not saying you're staying there or you're going down or you're going up. It's just the fact that you are gonna progress in some way of your personal self. Um, it can be psychologically, you just want to be better. Psychologically, you want to be, or mentally, you just want to be able to handle yourself in certain conversations, or like, um, or make better choices. Like like those things are not just physical, but are also mental, and it takes more mental health than just like actual physical movement to really just do it. Because before you do something, you always think like, is it a good idea, or you just do it anyway because you thought it was a good idea. It's always the part like you always thought or think, or you thought of it being a good idea or a bad idea. It's always a thinking process. Most people overlook that part. I mean, people that doesn't acknowledge it. Most people that don't acknowledge it overlook that part. Um, but dating back by high school and middle school, like you will know. I'm gonna be honest. Me personally, you won't know what true love feels like till like late high school, early mid 20s ish, because you know what you're looking for. At some point, you start to have an idea of what you're looking for in a relationship and what you don't want in a relationship, honestly. And there's times you just don't know yet, but you still have a great idea of how you want it to go. I'm gonna be honest. I had my P's and Q's that I had to hip up on, and I was like, damn, what am I doing? But every person, it's not just me, but every person has that feeling that they feel like they're not doing enough, but they are doing enough. They just don't feel like they're doing enough. But that's where your mental health kicks in. Is like you are, and you know you're doing enough. You just don't feel like it. It's like this is where mental health kicks in. Is like when you put yourself in positions that you know you're doing really well for yourself and for others around you to be a whole, and you make sure it's in a priority to keep it that way, you are in the light. You are good. You are settled. You're just doing well for yourself regardless. Most people when they're working so hard they don't realize how far they made it until they've been told to stop or calm down and not stress out anymore for a moment. Just take a breather. And I'm not gonna lie to you, taking that breather sometimes it really just like sets you down. But the fear factor behind this, like and I understand it now, is like when you're working so hard and you like really sit back and sit down real quick, you get that fear. It's like something's gonna happen next, so you gotta kick back to it in like the next minute or two and just like get back to working like you were working for your life or something. And to be honest, to be quite frank, actually, it's not the best feeling at all. Cause it feels like you're not. It feels like you're not doing enough and you feel like you can do more but you just don't feel like you're doing enough, which in a positive note, on a different note, it is a good thing because you have a worth ethic. But on most occasions when it comes down to it, it's not completely good either because you get more restless, like you get more restless, get more of an attitude because you don't have to sleep. You lose more focus on other stuff and just too focused tunnel visioning on the one thing you're working on so hard that when you get old, you're like, I didn't get time to enjoy crap. I didn't get in time to even enjoy my kids, my grand. It's like some stuff you wish you were enjoying. You are working too hard to even realize that you never got the time for it because you've been working so goddamn hard. And you're like, I need to get this, I need to get this, I need to get this. Yes, you will have to get certain things that will make you who you are and what makes you feel like this is what you can be and what you want to be later on in your future, right? But it's when you're working so hard and your mental health is like you're not doing enough, because I'm gonna be honest, when I say like when you're really working so hard that even in your head, when you feel like you're about to relax real quick, in your head you're really relapsing like that's not enough, that's not enough, you're not doing enough. Go back to the drawing board. You're like, shit, you're right. You go back to it, but you don't even realize sometimes you're like, is it my fault that I'm like this? Not necessarily, but it gets to a point that you should seriously sit down and really appreciate your time and take care of your mental health. Because sometimes I'm not gonna lie to you, people really like people talk about mental health, but when it goes down to the breaking point, most of them don't even know what they're talking about when it comes to mental health. Because mental health can really change a lot of who you are, especially like even going to the gym, right? You get more exhilarated and more happy and more enjoyable stuff when you're in the gym because you're doing something. You feel like you have a purpose to be in the gym, so you're just working out to get a better muscle grip or something. And day by day, you get more energized and exhilarated. So you're like, yeah, I can do this. I want to do this. I can be all of this, right? But, eh, you know, it's always that constant reminding of your mind saying you can do it. It's just that do we really want to, and not just and like, I'm not gonna say this is all people because there's people that's like I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it because I know it's good for me. There's always gonna be people like that, and to be honest, quite frankly, yeah, that's good for them. But I'm not saying for just them. I'm saying for like all people in general. Like not everybody's gonna feel like, oh, I feel like I need to lift something today. It really like it's crazy when in your mental state when you're looking at someone and you see them working their ass off, right? In a way, it makes you want to do the same, but in a part, it makes you want to do the same, but not the way how they're doing it. It looks like, holy crap, you're the, whoa, are you good? Are you good? But in the same benefit of the ideal is that when stuff like that, it's like a feeling of motivation to do something, even though you've only felt that motivation for like 5, almost 10 minutes, and that's it, you're done. I mean, my motivation, for honesty, my motivation for this is just to speak my mind. To be honest with you, to speak like what I think works, like what I think works, but like what I also like. I don't know everything. I'm No, I don't know anything. I mean, I know something, but not everything. Not even the oldest person knows everything. But in the mental state they put themselves through to know a lot of stuff that might intrigue someone else that doesn't know anything took a lot of time. And now, at a certain age, when you're like really trying to balance your time out with like friends, work, paying bill, like stuff like that, like stuff that really does take your time that you have to do before anything else, it plays a factor too with your mental health. Like, how you gonna like time manage this? How you gonna like critical thinking will play in a factor too with your mentality. Like, uh, I know this is how I work. I can get this like right here, and I do this like there, and I can okay, cool, I'm set. But it gotten to the point now that most people don't really do that. Like, there's still relatively people that do it, but not as on a higher rate as it used to. And to be honest, I I I I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. I'm quite understood. Like, I'm really trying to understand the factor of the doubt. Sometimes, like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, I have so much faith in this generation that we can turn it around to the point is like it doesn't turn around. But in my defense, I really do hope it does turn around for the better, because if it doesn't, we're all screwed. Like, all this stuff going on, even with politics, but I'm not gonna talk about it because I can care less at the moment. Uh, in a mental mind state, when you're always thinking of like certain outcomes, like certain thought processes, like how this works for you, how it doesn't work for you, you always ponder and wonder, is this the best solution I can come up with, or is this just the worst solution I can get at the moment? And it really makes you think at a rate that is like, is it enough for it to work? Is there enough of it for it to work, or is just lack so much that it just can't be saved, right? I believe that it lacks a lot that it might not be able to be saved, but I want to believe that there's enough that it can be. But it's up to it goes down to up to people, and everybody's mentality nowadays is just like either down bad to shit, or it's just like I'm depressed, or like I'm so depressed I can't do anything. Just because you're depressed does not mean you can't do anything. It's just you telling yourself mentally is that I can't do it because these things are blocking my view. Even if so, there's always, I mean, like, I know I sound like a hopeful person when I say these things sometimes, but there's always a way that you can always work it out. I mean, I did. I know a lot of people that had it worse than me, but they worked it out better than I thought they would have. And I'm like, if they can do it and I can do it, might as well everybody can effing do it. It's just like, will you take the time and consideration into it and work on it? Work on your mental state. Like, literally, the best thing ever is literally working on your mental state and your self love for yourself. And literally, the whole work ethic and everything will be in the factor too, but it also becomes enhanced because you're doing all these other things that adds onto it. It's beautiful, but it's like also scary at the same time how we are, what us as humans are smart, but we're also so dumb at the same time. And that goes for everyone, even me. I can sound like a dumb, I can sound like an idiot right now just talking about this. But to like someone, not, but to someone, no matter where you are in the world, someone will find someone stupid, or someone will find someone dumb, or someone will find someone unlogical, someone will find someone. There will always be somebody finding somebody. It's like, why did I ever run into you? Why did I run into you? How do I even know you? It's always gonna be that. But in the same concept, it's like in mental state, even if you before you even met them, it's always think of how not think of like how to approach. It's more like think how they could be if you do give them a chance to like speak. But I'm just rambling, man. I looking at how things change in so much, especially cars, man. It's just so much changed. Some like when I was a little child, like when I was literally like 4 years old, there wasn't a lot of like known fights around. Like there wasn't like a lot of known like, oh, everybody's fine recording, everybody's fighting. Really, like it was like there was some moments like they got a phone and record, but it wasn't as often as it is now. As soon as you hear a fight or something crazy about it, you got your phone out. A little bit before like phones started taking off like that, it was more like, well, it happened. Best keep on moving. It's crazy how phones like changed over the years, man. Like from picking them up like this to like now just there's so much stuff that changed over time, and it's only been barely 100 years of all that change too. It's been like not even like barely like probably like half, like probably like half 100 years of just straight technology being changed around like digitally. And I'm not even saying like oh the first telephone, all like all these anonymous people that made these things still current to our day at a time, like the phone. No one will remember who was the first person to make like if I really sat down and told somebody who's the first person that made the phone without searching them up, they would not know. They will not know. Of course, it's going to be a person that will know because there's always that person that's always researching. But for most people, they won't know. Same with people that made the first computer, like the very first computer, or the very first handbag or something, like the very first something, like the very first chair, the table, forks, spoons, whatever was first, like the ever first created stuff. No one would know what it is anymore. It's so anonymous, but it's so important in our day to day lives that we forgot the people who even make the damn thing. Same with toilets. No one doesn't remember who made the toilet. Shoelaces. Who was the person that made shoelaces? I don't know. I know y'all don't know, but you know they're helpful when it comes to tying your shoes, so your shoes won't fly off your feet. Seatbelt. Yeah, the seatbelt was invented not to, the seatbelt is one of the least oldest inventions that was made through most of the history of like creation of like tables and crap, right? But it took a person to really be like, yo, we need this for safety reasons because people were flying out these windows or people just flying out of cars because they're getting hit. Okay. Because I remember my parents would tell me like it used to be like your mom or your dad or your grandparents would have their hands on your body like a whole satchel covering you. So just in case they get in a crash, they'll take more of the blunt force than you. But on the same race, and not the race, but the same rate, in the same rate, it didn't really do much either because we're all still made flesh and bone. So I mean, uh, yeah. But when you're mentally not healthy, you tend to do stuff that is not good for you in so many ways that can destroy you. And that is most people, even when arrogance, most people just don't connect like they used to anymore. It's more like, especially the slang. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not the best with this new slang anymore. I sound old saying that, and I'm not old. But it's like, it just sounds stupid. I might be wrong, but I think it sounds stupid. Um, but to all the people that's watching this, I appreciate you guys' time. Seriously, thank you for staying for my little ramble. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect it to be this long, but thank you very much. Catch you on the flip side.